Hello there, and welcome to my very first live stream with Robin Vote. And technically, this is going to basically be the return of Brick City Blockade.
Hmm.
We are just gonna discuss the celebration. This is also kind of a makeup stream that I've been meaning to do because I reached 500 subscribers, and I reached 600, then I reached 700. So I've been meaning to do this stream for a while.
Yeah.
Um, and before we fully get into the celebration discussion, it wouldn't be a Brick City live stream if we didn't call somebody out.
This is true.
And so we are calling out Mecha Random 42 for just being a vile human being. She is part of the fandom that is basically attacking the actress who plays Riva, who I can't remember her name right now, but regardless, whether you like the character or not, it's a fictional character. You don't need to attack the actor or actress playing these roles. I don't know why these people can't get this in their head. Hello, Tony. Um, that these are fake characters.
Yeah.
And the main reason why I'm calling this person out is because she is a big person in this community as a
Mhm.
YouTuber. Um, I'm just gonna read what her um, video, or at least the thumbnail, says. Um, so the video itself is called "Obi-Wan series is going to be awful because it's hiding behind diversity again." And then in the thumbnail itself, it says "Diversity hire human shield," which would be the third sister. And then the icing on the cake is Operation Get Behind the Darkies is real. What the absolute fuck?
What the fuck?
And then what happened in Texas is terrible. We're not going to go full into what happened, but
Yeah.
if you don't care what happened, you're just the scum of the earth. Um, but this bitch decides to clap back at someone defending Obi-Wan Kenobi, or at least the actress, and saying that she should basically care what she says. And she goes, "Why would I? I'm not an activist. I don't even care about the Texas shooting thing because I hate kids." Now, Robin, you're a
Uh-huh.
teacher.
Yeah.
How does this make you feel?
This is probably one of the most frustrating things to read on social media. And it's not just her, right? We see this consistently across social media. This attention grabbing, I am the face of what your opinions should be attitude. And I look into this and I'm glad we're bringing this to light because we've always been known for calling out this kind of scum and villainy, if we're to use a Star Wars term for it.
Mm-hmm.
And she herself, number one, is seeking attention at every turn. That's what this is all about. What ridiculous things can I say? And do I think she's probably an outright racist? Yes. I mean, let's call it out for what it is.
Yeah,
They're racial comment, they're racist comments, they're racially motivated, and there's no room in this world for that.
no, absolutely not.
And to project that within a fandom that has had some issues with people, in all honesty, being racist and calling out actors and actresses that have been involved in Star Wars, right? It, the room for it is unnecessary, and I'm really glad that Lucasfilm and Disney made the decision on social media. It was actually Shaylin that read it to me, put out a statement on social media that said there's no room for this.
No.
They protected their actress. they protected the people that have brought these characters to life for them.
Mm-hmm.
And in all honesty, I think they realized the errors of their ways when it came to Kelly Marie Tran and John Boyega,
Yep.
specifically in the sequel trilogy. They had an opportunity to do this, and that's Shaylin for everybody who
I
does
mean,
not
it
know.
is a very good color for this discussion.
Isn't it? It's perfect.
Not so much the blue that you changed it to, but
That you can't what? Find the post anymore. You can't find the post anymore? Okay, interesting.
which post? The one that Mecha Random put up, or
Yeah, the one that she posted.
probably because she was.
Oh, the Star Wars, the Lucasfilm one.
Okay,
So
I'm
it's no longer up.
still up,
If that's the case.
maybe, but
But at the root of that point is,
the one of Ewan McGregor defending her is still up there. So
yeah, I know. And I love that he had no qualms and said, yeah, I'm going to call this bullshit out like it is. But I think that that Lucasfilm itself realized the error of their ways in terms of trying to defend John Boyega and Kelly Marie Tran. That the fandom came to their support, but Lucasfilm itself did not.
no.
And now they're realizing, oh, well, if the fandom is getting behind it, and I think Celebration kind of reminds us of that. I think they saw a lot of that coming back to Celebration this year.
Yeah.
That, wow, these fans really do care. A good majority of them really do care, and we'll call this out on the spot. Maybe we should start doing that more often.
Yeah.
And so she's the scum of the earth. I totally agree with you. 100%. Should she lose her YouTube responsibilities?
I think she should.
I think YouTube should seriously and I would actually push, she says she's not an activist, but that doesn't mean people who watch her can't be. Report her account.
I'm not an activist, and I care about all this shit going on.
Yes. That's all that matters, is that you care about it. So go out, report her account. Take that action. Call it out for what it is.
It all falls back onto YouTube if they're actually going to do something about it.
Right? So we, as people who stream on YouTube now and people who podcast and whatnot, it's our job to bring this to light, like you're doing right here, Andrew. Bring it to light. Show people that, hey, this bull crap can't be happening much longer.
Exactly. But we're going to move away from that. That way we can kind of be more lighthearted for this.
Compressed, yes.
Yes. Hello, Tony. Hello. Not StreamYard, but Classic Tunes. Thank you for joining the stream. And we got that bullshit out of the way. So now let's talk about Celebration. We haven't had Celebration since 2019.
Yeah, it's been a few years. 3 years.
Oh, look, we got a celebrity here.
Hey, Direct Cinema.
And if I remember correctly, we were doing that certain celebration somewhere else.
Oh, yes. That's right. I remember that. Oh, boy.
That was
something.
Yeah, that'll be a whole different live stream.
Now, before we continue on the Celebration thing, I got Durant Cinema in the room here. I got to do this. David, while I got you in the chat here, are you a Popeyes person or a KFC person?
That is a good question.
I need a Durant Cinema answer on this one. Because...
Which one are you, though, Robin?
Some may say I am a Popeyes person. Some may say.
But are you a Kentucky boy?
I can't say I'm a Kentucky boy.
Dave says KFC all day.
All right, so here's my follow-up to David on this one. I know we're getting completely off track, but it's not.
Baby.
That Mac. Oh, that was my next question. David, I love you. You already answered my question. Didn't have to go any further. Now, actually, no, I'm going to save that for when I see him in person. I'm gonna say what you do with that mac and cheese.
That's usually a me comment.
I know. I'm throwing the role reversal on that one.
But yeah, we finally had Celebration after what, 3 years?
3 years. Yep.
And Well, it wasn't as grand as it normally is. Dave said no comment.
That's fine, David. I'll get the answer out of you at some point.
Um, and then he put winky faces, so you know what that means. um, well, it might not have been as grand as like 2019's because, oh no, Tony, do we want to know what you
I've started a monster. I am so sorry.
you have? um, like 2019's was different because we had Rise of Skywalker, we had we were coming up on I think the last season of Clone Wars.
Yeah, it was just
Uh,
about the last season.
we're on the tail end of the end of Rebels. I'm pretty
Yep.
sure.
Yep. It was.
We had Fallen Order coming out, which spoilers. We have the sequel coming out this year, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great.
I didn't mind how basically simple it was
Mhm.
because I feel next year's will be even greater.
Yeah.
They'll have more stuff to basically announce, show off, and all that.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right in that. And I was actually talking to Scott, which, by the way, brand new episode of Talking Far, Far Away coming out really, really soon here. And I am excited that Scott is back on the podcast and is ready to rock and roll with some stuff because he wants to also talk a lot of DC and Marvel coming up too, which
Oh,
is
that'll be pretty fun.
good stuff. And we talked about it, and he said, you know what? He says it feels a lot like 2016 when he went to Celebration in London. And we had Rogue One. We didn't know much about episode 8 just yet. There was a lot up in the air, right? So he says it had a lot of that kind of feeling. And the other thing was too, and I thought this was an interesting point that he made, and I agreed, was that when we are looking at how Disney markets its products, right? We still have a lot of questions when it comes to Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron film.
Yeah,
We
that's on
didn't
the back burner from what I understand.
Right. We don't know about Taika Waititi's project yet.
Yeah,
That's still out in the
I know
open.
that is the next movie that they're putting out though.
Right. We didn't get a trailer or any kind of teaser for Acolyte, which is part of
Oof.
the High Republic.
Yeah, which that'll probably be next year because I think they start filming next year.
This is going to be a real test of should we have released this to the Star Wars Celebration Anaheim crew, or do we really broaden our marketing platform and we say we give all the Disney Plus Star Wars streaming stuff over to Star Wars Celebration, and then we focus on the other products because we still have D23 coming up. We still have San Diego Comic-Con, which Disney does want to have a presence at. We have all these other conventions that they want to get their platform really like straight out front and let people know at every kind of convention this is the kind of product that we're trying to push forward.
Mm-hmm.
I think D23 we are going to get something that we didn't get at Celebration because they're trying to hit their other market too,
I will
which
be right
is
back. My wife's food is almost here.
oh, that's fine. I'll keep talking actually.
Thank you.
So I think the bigger piece in all of this is, do we see next Celebration having it being in London? Do we see what historically has been true, that we get more movie news? Do we get more of the Star Wars product that we have become more used to in terms of announcements since the purchase in 2012? So anybody in the comments, any of you out there, Durant, Tony, Classic Tunes, if you have any thoughts about that, please post it in there.
I have a thought.
Yeah, go for it, Shannon.
The price of admission.
That's an interesting point. What do you mean by that?
It was so expensive for so little like time and
Yeah.
so few announcements, so few like exclusives.
Yeah. No, that's a really interesting point. I mean, we talk a lot about the price points in which Disney sets for a lot of their stuff. You're Disney, you go to Disney parks more than I ever have. You know what that kind of cost looks like in a way. And
Actually have a conversation.
yeah, absolutely. And I think the interesting point in all of that is during this Star Wars celebration, everybody walked into it coming out of, the core of the pandemic, you could say, not being able to attend Celebration or Comic-Cons, and therefore being like, however much it costs, I want to go to this because it's my first time getting back into the fandom and to seeing all these people, right? But I think at the end of the day here, you're right. In terms of how much news we got
Shayla's
out of
always
Star Wars
right.
Celebration. What's that?
She's always right.
See, this man knows the right answers right
I'm married now, so the wife's always right.
here.
Gotta teach him.
But
Show him your ways.
Shayla makes a very interesting point about the price of Celebration.
What was it, like $300 a day or something crazy like that? Or,
I
don't
think if
remember
you
the
wanted
actual
the
price
premium package, like the VIP experience, which was like,
access to all the exclusive live streamed interviews.
yeah, like guarantee at a panel, like right up front and
So,
all
like, it
that.
would be guaranteed you get into the premiere for Obi-Wan or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was like $300
I
or
mean, it's
something.
better than the Star Cruiser being $6,000.
That is a great point, which they cut the price of and cut the duration of. I'm pretty sure. I need to do more research on that, but I was looking into it just to see. I saw somebody did a comparison on like the Star Cruiser versus what you'd get at like a normal Disney park. So then did like the night at a luxury resort, and then the meals that are included and the access to the park, and it's still like a couple $1,000s more expensive for the Star Cruiser. But like it's an experience that's like unbeatable, right? You can't get the same food there, you can't get the same like immersive experience, which probably still isn't great because of COVID. But but I feel like I gotta double check my sources on this one, but I think they cut the price, but they also cut the day, so it honestly is the same like price value for your money, but I mean it's less sticker shock maybe, but like still.
There's these YouTubers that I watch called Always Believe, and they actually did a trip to the Star Cruiser and stuff like that, and did like a full tour of like how it is, how it works, and all that goes into it. And it's like you pulled a Rob.
She activated my lightsaber.
We can't do that on the stream.
No, we can't do that. We're gonna get demonetized.
And like it's basically encouraged to basically like essentially LARP, like actually get into your character and actually role play it and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of the cool part of it, and I think you're right. It's you look at the price of how much it was to get the Celebration, right? And I'm really surprised, like even during the live stream, they were not pushing Galactic Star Cruiser at all.
Oh.
At all. And I'm starting to wonder if it's because they're really reinvestigating, like, hold on, what is our actual capping price point for this thing? Because the reviews coming out from podcasters and stuff was like, I'm not too impressed with this thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like the reviews from Galaxy's Edge too, right? It was designed in a pre-pandemic time. It was designed to be this like super immersive experience that we can't have anymore because of the limited contact that the pandemic brought around.
It's interesting. Very interesting. But I mean, overall, I think Celebration did some good things.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because some people were kind of like, well, I wish we got some more trailers for stuff. I wish we, and I think the other thing is
the thing that I do have issues with. It's like, those who can't go, why did we not get the trailer for like Tales of the Jedi or Ahsoka or anything like that? It's like not everyone can afford to go to California, pay for a hotel, pay for the tickets for Celebration. It's like it doesn't make sense.
Accessibility.
And then they think that by hosting it, where are they hosting it? London.
They
think that by hosting it in London, it's going to be accessible for East Coast folks, which is like, no. It's just as expensive to cross the ocean as it is to cross the country.
Even though we don't know how COVID's going to be by then either.
Right.
Yeah, that's the ultimate point, I mean, even Scott is unsure.
Yeah, the smartest that they could have done is what DC did with the fandom.
Right.
just make it an at-home event that you can actually go to.
Right. Yeah. No, that I love that format now. I think in terms of accessibility, it's absolutely perfect to have an at-home Comic-Con or an at-home convention, right?
Yeah,
Like that makes sense. And the other thing too, you bring up an interesting point, Andrew, about the trailer releases, right? The and I thought this was absolutely fascinating. I had heard I haven't gotten anybody to confirm it yet, but I'm working on it on Twitter that the Andor trailer hit 30 minutes before on YouTube, and then the Star Wars people said, "You guys get to see it for the first time live here from Star Wars Celebration." And
yeah,
it had already been on YouTube for 30 minutes and had already had 1 million views.
yeah.
Like that's not okay.
Yeah,
No.
Somebody really screwed up. So like if we're going to do that, like the Ahsoka trailer, you and I, Shaylin, have seen it. It went out there. Did you see it actually?
I don't know if I did. I don't think I saw the Ahsoka.
Okay, so
It's okay, it's fine. I'll watch it after.
Should watch it after. I'll make sure of it.
It's not a spoiler. It's a trailer. It's different.
Correct.
It's
a trailer. I watched.
I
The
wouldn't even say it's a trailer. It's more like a sizzle reel, essentially.
Sizzle reel. Yeah.
Very short.
I already saw that one like leaked behind the scenes like shot of somebody like lying dead on the ground. So like I've seen that.
Yeah. Right. So it gets to the point where, and I think we've actually talked about this on Words of the Wills and on ComCall specifically, Andrew, is when things get leaked like that, right? Like when a trailer or sizzle reel gets leaked, it's all over Twitter. It's all over social media. Like Lucasfilm, just release it on YouTube at that point.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't get because
Own it.
Jedi is coming out this year as well. So it's like,
yes. They wait for these marketing moments, and it's like Rogue One was a great example of that, right? We talked about that like in depth.
Yeah.
When Rogue One came around, Sean and I talked about it, and you were in the chat comment and everything talking with us about it on Facebook and on our through our feed. And it was kind of like they literally waited until 2 months before the film came out to market that thing.
Yeah.
Solo, another great example.
It was barely a month that they started to market it.
So my question is, at the end of the day, maybe you could answer this for me, Andrew.
I don't know about that.
Well, let's give it a shot, right? At what point does the Lucasfilm marketing team actually take a step back and say, hold on, we're releasing all this stuff at Celebration. We're thinking that it's only people who attend and pay the money that get to see this stuff, right? It's the only way. The marketing standard is that when you have a product and you think it's going to be successful, right?
Yeah.
Don't wait.
I mean, the only thing that they've done good marketing wise so far is one, Mandalorian.
Yeah.
It did jack shit with Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And Obi-Wan Kenobi. Their marketing for that has been great.
Yeah.
I feel like especially when a trailer gets leaked, like as badly as the new Mandalorian trailer got leaked, like then they should just post the original, like the actual version, own up to it, and that way then whoever pirated it isn't getting those views, you know.
Exactly.
So that's another thing to consider.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talking, I'll be right back again.
Yeah, go for it. And I think that the other like main part to all of that too is, if you want to make people pay to go to a convention to see those kinds of things, then actually own up to your own security, right? It used to be for the longest time that at San Diego Comic-Con, when you entered the hall, they had, if I understand this, they had lockers if you had devices, and you put your device in a locker.
Yeah.
And you came back after, and you picked it up after.
I mean, you're paying that kind of money for exclusivity. You want to keep it exclusive.
Right. So why still like have that boundary of security gone and still allow people to record it and then not release it after when it does leak? There's no accountability there for their product. And if I were a part of the Disney marketing team, I would be like, why does this keep happening to us? where are we fucking up?
Mhm.
And we now need to own up to this every single time, right? So just make trailers an all-around release. Enough of the panel exclusives. Like some of the panels during Celebration this year were cool. Ian McDermott's and some of the character-based ones, like the single characters, you can go to any convention and pay $20 for the day and go see them talk about those things. Like Ian McDermott's one of those characters.
And they're still gonna make bank on all the exclusive merch that's
Oh,
there.
I know.
Like you can like merch that you can't get online, stuff that you can only get in person at that event. Like, yeah, the resale market for that stuff is insane, but it's because you can only get it there. So I mean, if you're gonna charge an admissions fee, you're paying for the access to that merchandise.
Correct.
And it should not be $300.
No, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be at all. Now, Andrew's going to hop back into this one, but this is, I think, a really good talk for us too. Is I was extremely thrown off. Maybe people in the comments can also jump in on this too. I was really thrown off that at Star Wars Celebration, when we're talking about product releases, when we're talking about, marketing the Star Wars product itself through Lucasfilm, that we got Indiana Jones 5 and Willow products and a heavy marketing platform for two other products that are not Star Wars related necessarily, right? I get Willow because there are a lot of the actors and actresses that were in the original trilogy were part of Willow, right? A lot of the puppeteers, a lot of the people who worked originally on Star Wars were a part of that.
Of the original?
Of the original Willow.
I'm trying to think why there puppets in it. There weren't that. I mean, there were
Some of the creatures in the background and stuff, like small things there, like some Jim Henson shop stuff was it was included in there. But then we go to an Indiana Jones 5. I get that Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones, right? And the tie-in to that.
Well, save that stuff for D23.
Save that stuff for D23. That is not a place at Star Wars Celebration. I walk in there.
The Lucasfilm showcase.
Yeah, but
no, but they marketed it as Star Wars Celebration. All of the branding, but when you clicked on the live stream, it was like Star Wars Celebration Day 1, not like Lucasfilm show or whatever. Like
they didn't even stream that first panel.
No, they didn't. They missed on that opportunity, and I'm not shitting on it. But it's
feels like they were trying to fill time.
Oh, a time.
Yeah, that could be.
Putting the Willow and the Indiana Jones in there makes it feel like, oh, we only have. Well, okay, so if you're gonna plan a weekend event and this is the amount of content you have to fill it, like space it, like draft it out, lay it out.
Yeah.
And plan it. Like you have the money, you have the time, you have the expertise. You shouldn't need a space filler. Like, and that's kind of feels like that's what that would be, Yeah. Or maybe they didn't want to wait to D23 or like something like that, but then like don't put it at a convention, just release it on its own, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
No, you make a good point.
I just don't understand. I guess, and maybe this is queuing off of that. I mean, trust me. Last thing I want to do is completely shit on Star Wars and Lucasfilm because they kind of had an impossible task of wanting to bring a celebration back, of wanting to give fans something, right?
Yeah, baseline, we had Star Wars Celebration this year.
Baseline, we had Star Wars Celebration. That's great. But at the same time, if you're doing filler with Willow and Indiana Jones 5, my question then becomes, what other two products that you're working on did you replace those with in your marketing?
Would have been Acolyte or something else.
Acolyte, right? Something fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that was their plan for Rogue Squadron. Maybe Patty Jenkins was going to come out and have a whole panel.
Yeah, that's possible.
And that fell apart. I just, and I was kind of hoping when Kathleen Kennedy came out and talked that we would get like hey, we realize that we've told you guys about these products, right? And we haven't followed through on a lot of them. So our goal going forward to the fandom is to make sure that we have all of our I's dotted and T's crossed when it comes to these things.
Yeah.
Like a stakeholders update, right? And I think that's a way to also sell Disney Plus in a way, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, Patty Jenkins is with Rogue Squadron. You know, we're thinking not a movie format, but we're definitely thinking of her doing Rogue Squadron as a series,
I think that would actually work a lot better.
right? But like, give us something.
As much as I love going to the movies and seeing a Star Wars movie, I feel Star Wars is working the best right now as a streaming series stuff.
Mhm.
It because they're able to flesh out these stories. Like Mandalorian would not have worked as a movie. I don't think it would have.
No.
It needed to be a series. Boba Fett, that could have been a movie, but even then, um, Obi-Wan definitely couldn't have been a movie.
No,
How it's paced, it needed to be the series.
it did need to be a series. I know we're gonna get into that in a little bit,
Oh
but
yeah.
you're right, and there's a lot more I think that they're gonna continue to explore
Mhm.
when it comes to Disney Plus. Can we do a film release on Disney Plus successfully?
I would be surprised if they do like so Mandalorian and Ahsoka are supposed to have a crossover.
Yes,
That could be their first like Disney Plus movie or something like that.
right.
Because it
Right.
was supposed to be Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and Rangers of the New Republic, but that's
That's
kind of
right.
not a thing anymore.
Ranger of the New Republic too. That was another whole. Yeah.
Because it was supposed to be Cara Dune's show, and then
Well,
I mean, let's be
yeah,
honest. Having a
they,
two-part,
they could make it Trapper Wolf's show
they could make a Trapper Wolf show. This is very true.
as
Very
long
true.
as Trapper Wolf has a cowboy hat, though.
Oh, has to. Absolutely. Like you saw the Black Series figure, right?
Yeah.
I want that so
As
bad.
much as Dave didn't want to be a part of that, he has
He
to be
is.
so happy he has an action figure, though.
Oh, he's got to be pumped. He's got to be absolutely pumped. I heard that there was even a separate release that he wanted it to have a Pittsburgh Penguins jersey replaceable.
That would be funny.
Should be fantastic for sure. Is that- oh. I thought Shaylin had something to say.
I did, but we moved on.
Oh, but
We'll
we
come back
moved
to
on.
it. We'll
Okay, we'll come
to
back
it
to
when
it.
we talk about Obi-Wan.
Okay.
It was about movies. I was gonna say that having the two-part Obi-Wan release, like the first episode, no spoilers, but the first episode was not the end of that arc. The second episode, what's the word? The moment of realization that he has at the end of the second episode. That is the cliffhanger they wanted to end that view on. So having those
That's
two
why.
together, that was basically like having a movie,
Yeah.
a feature-length situation debuting that series.
Yeah.
So they could have just done those together, to be honest. Everybody watched them back to back anyway.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah, I've spoken too much truth. He can't handle it.
Cannot handle the truth. You can't handle the truth. Close. Anyway, yes, I agree. I think that the way that let's put it this way. We're gonna get into it.
He had an epiphany.
He had an epiphany.
That's the word I was looking for.
That's the word. He had an epiphany. He had a very important moment. He had a Ben Kenobi moment.
Very light bulb, like.
Who had a Ben Kenobi moment?
It's a great question. Who did?
Obi-Wan?
Obi-Wan. Sorry. Yes.
We're not talking about Obi-Wan yet. We're still going to get through the show.
Look at this one back here.
I was talking about movies, and then
I literally thought you said I was talking about booties, but that's okay.
I mean, he probably was too. But
who, Robin? Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
always.
So we'll go through the stuff that was announced briefly, and then we'll give our thoughts on the stuff that was announced, and then we'll get into Kenobi.
Fantastic.
Sorry.
So, as we mentioned, we've actually got the trailer for Andor.
Yes.
Robin, I haven't talked to you about it. What did you think of the trailer for Andor?
So, again, two things.
Always two there are.
Always two there are. No more, no less.
Even though that's a lie, because there's like the Inquisitors now, there's the assassins that they had in the Clone Wars. It's like, it's bullshit.
They're not Sith, but they're not full Sith.
They're not Sith.
See, even Bell agrees.
Even Bell agrees.
I don't know. I don't see them as full like Sith Lords, so I don't think that counts. Then they're also not like Sith.
I think they get like basic Sith training, then Vader's just like, yeah, you can go off and do your own thing now.
They're like force sensitive bad guys.
Yeah.
So basically they're
Light
paid
swords.
$14.50 an hour to learn a little bit about being a
They're
Sith.
lucky to even get that. They get like $8 an hour.
it's right about the federal minimum wage is where it is.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
honestly, with the Empire, they'd probably go lower than that.
It's the imperial minimum wage.
So it's like $4 an hour.
Yeah. You could actually kind of say that the payments are a little bit what I was gonna make a joke and I totally botched it. Anyway, come back to me later for that one.
Okay.
Stay tuned, folks.
Andor.
Andor. So Genevieve O'Reilly coming back to play Mon Mothma.
Mhm.
I mean, come on. That is absolutely fantastic. And I really like the direction that they are going with this.
Yeah.
They're going to have different, you can tell that they're going to have different people play Cassian as he's getting older, right?
Yeah.
You can
kinda
see that
have to.
progression.
You can't exactly play a 12-year-old.
But yeah, right. Hi guys, I'm enjoying the Resistance.
I mean, that's the only gripe I have with Bad Batch when they show Caleb Doom and it's still
Oh, I
Frank
know.
Jr. It's like his balls drop pretty.
It's so true.
You like
I didn't even think
like-
about that.
you sound like 50-year-old Freddie Prinze Jr. What happened?
What happened to you, man? Boof. Anyway, so that's what happened. I now you got me thinking about Andor coming up with the skateboard. Hello, fellow. Oh no! Oh, that's bad. Whew.
You can only de-age someone so much.
This is true. This
Yeah.
is true. Hi guys, my name is Cassie.
So it's essentially Mickey Mouse.
Oh, hey boys, boys and girls. Ooh, oh, that's bad. Anyway,
That's what happens when we haven't recorded in so long.
I know we just freaking lose it. So yeah, Genevieve O'Reilly coming back to play Mon Mothma, fantastic. I think that they are really going to harp in on the of course, that Obi-Wan Kenobi timeline, right? Like that very much post Clone Wars, post the Republic moving into the Empire.
Yeah, like the early stages
excited
of the
for that
Empire.
chapter too.
It's
Because I feel like a lot like the first little taste of it we got with Rogue One was just like it's such a rich time
Yeah,
to experience that, because like you're experiencing the fall of your society, right? Like the structure that people have known in the galaxy forever is like just completely disintegrating.
yeah,
And just all of the shit that's happening, and the people who are just turning over and accepting it, and the people who are fighting to keep it the way it was, and the people who realize that fight is over and are trying to figure out what's next. So I think it's really interesting that we have like a handful of series and films potentially showing this period.
yeah, and it's
really interesting
stuff that hasn't really been told yet of that 20-year period of the Empire basically in control.
Yeah. No, I was trying to make reference to one of the novels. I don't know if I have it here with me. I might know.
Are you thinking of one of the Leia book or?
Yes, the Leia book specifically.
Mhm.
That's definitely playing in with Kenobi here, big time.
Yeah.
Because the Leia book by Claudia Gray, like, specifically talks about her time on Alderaan as a young child.
Yeah.
Which I think Claudia is probably sitting back like, oh my goodness, they're actually using some of that.
Yeah.
But I think that there's was it something that Scott said, which was this is probably the last few shows that is going to play in this part of the timeline.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think once Acolyte comes out, we're stuck in the High Republic for a while.
Yeah, I think this is the last part of that prequel to
The
original trilogy part of the timeline between Kenobi and Andor, and I think they're going to leave it after that. So Kenobi's going to wrap it up on a major point within that timeline, of course, right, leading up to essentially the events of Rogue One, because that's really where we have
Not
to.
only that, but the events of Rebels, Rogue One, and A New Hope, essentially.
And then you're going to have Ahsoka that's going to play towards the end of that, right? The end of Return of the Jedi into
Right, yeah.
right
And
into that.
is that still in that timeline? Because that's another gap that we don't really have much information on, is the gap between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens.
Force Awakens.
Whatever your thoughts are on the sequel trilogy, I still want to know the events that lead up to everything that happens in
The
that
First Order.
timeline.
Yeah.
I wonder how much time. I know we're gonna I keep getting ahead of myself talking about Kenobi, but I wonder how much time elapsed the Kenobi series is going to explore. Like, how long are we going to be with Obi-Wan? Like where is that arc going to lead? Is it going to bring us all the way? Like, we're going to have another 10 years later, at some point in the series, and then lead us to when the events of the original trilogy. Or is it just going to
So Obi-Wan is 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, so there's another 9 years before A New Hope.
Interesting.
So, I mean, it hasn't officially been announced, but I'm pretty sure there is going to be a second season of Kenobi.
I'm seeing rumors about that, yes.
And I would be surprised because it's their, what was it, record-breaking of their streaming stuff?
It's incredible the amount of new subscribers they've picked up just from this too.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
No, but
I keep jumping ahead. I really it's the most content we have to talk about.
Yeah.
But I mean, kind of tying this back to Andor, though, I think Andor has the potential to do that.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Do we see Vader again? Is Hayden coming back, and is he doing some Vader preview?
I think we see Palpatine because we see the Senate.
Yeah.
And that's something I've wanted to see, is an Imperial ran Coruscant. Because we know the Imperial Palace is the Jedi Temple.
That's right.
And knowing Palpatine and the sick fuck that he is, he definitely left all the corpses of the Jedi there.
Oh, God, yes. Absolutely. He let him to rot there. That's his whole thing. Do you think Andor's going to pull in more of the politics as Kenobi is hitting more of the Force and everything?
Absolutely. So people hate that Star Wars gets political, but it's like Star Wars has always been political.
Always. It's been a political narrative.
Honestly, Robin, you'll appreciate this. Some of the politics in Star Wars does reflect stuff that goes on in real life now.
Yeah, that's what George wanted.
I mean, look at
and come back to it later because I have a comment.
Is it about Frick?
Oh, about Frick. Oh, yes.
And basically his rebel flag.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a bumper sticker, is what it is.
Yeah.
Yikes!
It's so nice to find people who are feeling the same way as I am.
Yeah.
But I'll talk about it when we get there. But
straight up, this guy is a.
Yeah. He's definitely from the South.
Let's just put that out there right there. We've just lost every viewer in Alabama and Louisiana.
I don't want any viewers from Alabama.
Oh.
Careful.
Come at me, Alabama. We make a new Brick City shirt. Go make a Brick City shirt. Come at me, Alabama.
But it does seem like we're going to get a lot more of Coruscant from not only Andor, but also Bad Batch Season 2.
Yeah.
Which that was a pretty cool trailer as well.
She hasn't watched it yet.
I'm still catching up on Clone Wars, okay? There's just so much of it.
Yeah, there is.
There's so much of it.
I need to do a better job.
I'm trying. Okay.
I am disappointed in you, Robin. I thought I trained you better than this.
It's not his fault. I started watching it because of him, so he's
Okay, I am proud of you of that.
As he was slowly about to force choke me a little bit there.
We'll talk about the force choking when we get to
Ooh. I know.
brutal as fuck. But I'm excited for Bad Batch season 2.
Yeah.
We get more post Revenge of the Sith timeline,
Yeah.
and we get more stuff with Palpatine.
I know.
And just hearing Ian McDermott say it's time to bring in the new era,
Yes.
so chilling, and just the new animation stuff for Palpatine was just. I'm like, that's straight up the devil.
Incredible. Yeah, literally. Yeah.
But
Very
we'll
excited about Bad
go
Batch.
away from Bad Batch because Shaylin hasn't seen it yet.
Oh, that's fine. I think it's really interesting to watch how the animation style has evolved. Because I'm still in like pretty early.
Early Clone Wars is tough to get through.
Yeah. I can't remember which season I'm on. I think I'm like three.
Season 3 or 4.
3 is when it really picks up.
Oh yeah, it's good. But like seeing that, and then but based off of like you go from like the first episode, season 1, like not even just the storytelling, but like the animation style. Like I got through it because of the storytelling, but like the animation was kind of like. But now it's like getting so much better, and I see these trailers for these newer seasons, and it's just like, oh my god,
yeah.
I think what might have happened is they didn't think it was going to be as good of a method to convey these stories as it ended up being. It's like, oh my gosh, we have all these stories to tell. They just kind of, for the first maybe season or two, we're just kind of like, oh, just, throw something together, it'll be fine. They didn't realize how popular it was going to be because of the storytelling and the screenwriting that just like blew it out of the water. And not for nothing, the people who put their voices to it are just like they give 200% with their performance.
Anna Graves, all these,
So I think they're investing more, certainly money and time into the animation now that it's like they can see it as an actual like way to tell all this backlog of story that they have in the canon.
And the thing that I love about Clone Wars is it shows the actual fall of Anakin Skywalker, of how a great Jedi can fall so far to where essentially he is in Kenobi.
Clone Wars Jedi is like just so much better. Sorry, Clone Wars Anakin is just so much better than prequel Anakin, and I'm a prequels girl. I'm sorry, but I am specifically because Padme is my favorite character in the entire canon. But yeah, Anakin in the Clone Wars series is just such a more like full, flushed out character. It's like in the prequel, the only thing you do is whine like a baby.
Yeah,
like that is it. And it honestly makes his relationship with Padme unbelievable. Like he doesn't sell it enough. He's just such a whiny little baby. Like
I will say Hayden's performance in episode 3 is a lot better than it is in 2. I will say Hayden's performance in episode 3 is a lot better.
Oh, certainly. Yes. Yeah. But it's still not like, it feels like he goes from Jedi to Sith in one decision. Like that's what it feels like in the movie, because there's not enough time to show that like, slow descent.
I do think they should have started with Anakin as a teenager than a child. And it showed, I think it would have been ballsy of Anakin turning dark in 2, and then you see everything transpiring. Like it starts with the Clone Wars essentially, and then it progresses. But
anyway, his relationship with all of the other characters to me is so much more believable in Clone Wars. Like he and Padme have better chemistry in the animated series. He and Kenobi have better. I mean, chemistry. Yeah, they have like a better relationship. And Ahsoka, like that is a very important relationship.
Ahsoka brings out the father figure of Anakin.
Yeah.
No, that's very true.
And I understand that means like
shows that Mace Windu is
that story. That's nothing against the prequel trilogy, but
Clone Wars is some of my favorite stuff within Star Wars. Clone Wars and Rebels. Have you seen Rebels yet, Shaylin?
No.
No, that's definitely on the
Yeah,
Very
Rebels.
long
things.
list.
It is aimed more towards kids, but as the seasons progress, it definitely gets darker as it goes on.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And it all actually does show the Inquisitors a little bit more as well in Rebels.
Yeah. No, it's important that, and I'm so glad that Shaylin's gotten so into Clone Wars specifically because it's so important to the lead up to everything else that we're getting now,
Exactly.
right? Even when I started
And
going back.
Hayden Christensen went back and watched the Clone Wars.
Well, right. See, that's what I'm talking about. In terms of the canon, it is extremely important
Mhm.
to watch through Clone Wars because it builds your basis for this is George Lucas's Star Wars. Like it is. And Dave Filoni was the one that
Mhm.
took that and really pushed it forward. Probably George knowing that Dave would one day take this product and
Dave was
expand.
essentially George's Padawan.
Yeah, he is. Dave Filoni is George's Padawan, and it's fascinating. This is probably a really great crossover into some Obi-Wan talk too,
Mm.
because we're starting to see what Deborah Chow can do, and Deborah Chow is
Dave
really
got a lot of did get thanks in the credits of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I think Dave is hands on with every single storytelling within any of the
really
stuff, and I think in the movies going forward too.
wow. I mean, I mean, if
If they
Dave can
have
have,
anyone controlling the stories, it's Dave.
well, yeah, I think
For continuity, if nothing else.
for continuity, and I think the relationship between Dave Filoni and Pablo Hidalgo
Yeah,
is very crucial to the stories that we're telling because Pablo gets the basis of George's storytelling. Dave is the one that can therefore take George's storytelling and say, how do we formulate this? How do we put this on the screen so that fans can have that connection between George Lucas's Star Wars and the Star Wars that the modern Lucasfilm is putting out today.
yeah.
And to say that George doesn't have a say in any of this is also very silly because the man is seen on set
Oh
consistently.
yeah. He was on the set of Mandalorian.
And to be honest with you, he'll probably be on the set of Ahsoka multiple times,
Oh,
knowing
absolutely.
that was his character, right? Like Dave and him basically came up with Ahsoka.
Mhm.
So
But
it will be interesting to see.
the next show that was announced, which I'm curious on, is Star Wars Skeleton Crew,
Yeah.
which is going to be done by John Watts and Christopher Ford. It will follow a group of 10-year-old kids from a small planet who got lost in that galaxy far, 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 far away and must try and find their way home. And it takes place in the timeline of The Mandalorian and Ahsoka.
Mm,
What people are describing is basically Stranger Things in Star Wars.
that's fascinating. That's either going to work or
Like
it's
Jude
not.
Law is the main star in it, so
It's either going to work or it's not.
yeah.
I mean, I feel like that this is the show where they say to Disney Plus subscribers and to families specifically, "Hey, we know you like watching The Mandalorian. We know you're gonna love Ahsoka, right? But maybe the little ones in your house or the ones who are just getting into Star Wars, that's too much for them to understand right
Yeah.
now. So let's give them a product to work with that fills in that gap, but maybe gets them interested in that time period within the Star Wars universe."
Yeah.
They gotta drop somebody in there, a character, a guide, somebody in there from the original, any of the original canon, like the prequels of the original, the
That's the
sequels.
thing.
They
Jude
gotta
Law,
drop a character in there that everybody knows.
yeah.
Because otherwise it feels detached. Like we understand it's like a giant galaxy, like we can have detached stories. But like it it feels like there needs to be some connection there.
Yeah. You don't cast Jude Law and don't have him as either someone we know or a character we're gonna basically essentially with Mandalorian with Din
Yeah.
fall in love with him within the first like 2 episodes, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then we got confirmation of Mandalorian season 3, and the fact that they're already writing season 4 of Mandalorian.
Not surprised.
They the dicks at Celebration got the small teaser, but we watched the bootleg version, and I'm I told you before we started the stream, I think Bo-Katan is going to be the antagonist of the season.
Well, she has to protect Mandalore because she's
Not only that, but I want to know how she lost the Darksaber to Moff Gideon.
Do we get that? Yeah. It's a really great question. Do we finally get that little piece of story where Bo-Katan fails to lead Mandalore, right?
Yeah.
Because we know, and based on the teaser, right, we see her sitting on the throne in a very, I'm going to be honest with you, in a very depressive state. Is that this season, or is that a flashback to when she lost it?
That could be a flashback.
Because that would be an important moment. The Siege of Mandalore alone itself, seeing that for the first time, anything that involves Mandalore, because again, that ties back to Clone Wars, right?
Mm-hmm.
That ties back to everything Filoni had worked on. So yeah, I mean, a flashback moment like that, and then the Mandalorian, Din Djarin returning to Mandalore, to the planet to the place that kind of built who he was, right? Death Watch was the one that watched over him.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously we saw Death Watch in that trailer too.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. I think there's going to be a lot of origin basis in this.
Yeah.
We're going to get Bo-Katan. We're going to get some flashbacks. And I think it's going to be important to telling the story going forward.
Yeah, I agree.
It
was announced that they're doing a second season of Star Wars Visions, which for me as an anime fan just makes me even more happy because I loved Star Wars Visions.
Did you like it? Yeah.
I like their takes on the Star Wars universe. And the first episode, which was the Ronin episode.
Oh, yeah.
That was easily my favorite episode. I hope we get a second episode of that for season 2, because I mean, it got a book out of it. And he's actually, do you know the Ronin's backstory?
I don't believe so. Well, I never really got into the Visions. So
he's actually a Sith that was part of the original Sith Order and stuff like that. But then they started to change their ways, and he didn't exactly like that. So he's on a mission hunting down those Sith, killing them.
Oh,
and
wow.
their crystals.
Holy cow. That's pretty cool.
And then we got Tales of the Jedi, which I'm excited for because it brings Dave Filoni back with his Clone Wars crew.
That's right.
Which it's going to feature Ahsoka Tano, Count Dooku, and Qui-Gon Jinn.
I love the Count Dooku.
They're pulling from the Dooku book that we got, and most likely the Master and Apprentice book featuring Qui-Gon. The cool thing about Qui-Gon, Liam Neeson is returning to voice him, but as Padawan Qui-Gon, his son's going to be voicing him.
Oh, wow. Huh. That's cool.
And I've always been curious of how Dooku turned to the dark side. It's like, it's that mystery. It's like, what was the breaking point for Dooku to turn? I know it was definitely Qui-Gon's death. But there had to be like hints that he was going to already turn when he was still a Jedi too.
Very similar to like a Ben Solo situation. Was there influence there anywhere?
And then actually there's a High Republic kids show that's going to be on Disney Junior.
I did hear about that. Yes.
It's called Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures. I think that's going to be pretty cool for the kids to get into Star Wars and stuff like that. And then we of course got the reveal for Jedi Survivor, which I think is a really cool title for the sequel to Fallen Order. No idea who that is in the back tank for the trailer,
Yeah.
but I was like, oh wait, maybe it's the Night Sister chick. Oh wait, no, the person was shirtless. Can't be the chick. And then we got the High Republic is in phase 2 of their storytelling, and
Yeah.
their first book or comic, they're going to Jeddah. So we're gonna see what goes on there.
That's really cool. I mean,
Yeah.
we always have a lot of questions about Jeddah, so that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Let's see. Am I missing anything else?
I think that was pretty much.
That's basically everything. Is Shaylin ready for Obi-Wan talk or?
Oh yeah, let's dig in.
All right. So we finally got the series we've basically been waiting for since it was announced they were doing basically TV shows for Star Wars.
Yeah.
We're gonna basically talk about all 3 episodes. There will be spoilers, so if you haven't seen all 3 episodes, you might want to turn off the stream.
Peace out.
Yeah. And 3, 2, 1. Fucking finally, we got. I can't even begin to like describe how happy I am with this series.
It's everything that we have ever wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you've read the canon or have gone back and read like the Kenobi novel, or followed the Anakin and Obi-Wan comic book series,
or even the new Obi-Wan novel that came out, Brotherhood.
Yeah, Brotherhood. There, I mean, there's. I think if I'm to take anything out of these first 3 episodes here, I mean, spoiler again, just reminding you to folks out there if you're still in this, you want to talk about a portrayal of Darth Vader, right? I'm a Vader guy. Vader is my heart and soul of the fandom of Star Wars that I love, right?
I have entered the chat.
She has entered the chat.
I have opinions.
She has opinions. And we've been waiting for, and Rogue One Vader, of course, in the hallway does that scene, right?
That was a taste of basically what we got.
This even more. The idea, his brutality. I think that's what you messaged me, Andrew. The brutality of Vader here. I was saying it to Shaylin, like, yeah, he was force choking people left and right to get to Kenobi.
He just broke their fucking neck.
Broke.
He didn't choke him. He just fucking like.
Not only that, the first one he snapped his neck was a kid.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It was a kid, and
that's the one that surprised me the most. I'm like, oh shit, they didn't even cut away. They full on showed a kid just get murdered.
Yeah, absolutely. And Shaylin was saying it to me, and I thought it was interesting. How before he even turned the corner, how many bodies did he just leave lying there?
He was straight up killing people as soon as he got on that planet.
Immediately, right? And I think the one thing leading up, like the reveal that Obi-Wan found out, Andrew compared Vader in the series to Michael Myers. Yeah, Tony, you're absolutely right. He's right. Very much that, especially the scene where he drags Obi-Wan into the flames.
Yeah,
that was Mike Myers. Like just the shot of the flames over it. That is straight up Mike Myers.
It was basically the way I interpret it. The flames is basically Darth Vader's hatred for Obi-Wan.
Yes. Yeah. This whole series has just hit every mark that we've ever wanted it to.
I basically said to you, I'm like, Obi-Wan is basically the last Jedi done right.
Yes.
Because Obi-Wan is a broken Jedi who failed his student and went into hiding. But he was called out to go and save, spoilers, Leia. Which I think was great that they didn't even show her in the trailers leading up to it.
Nothing.
That took me by surprise. I'm like, all right, how are they going to get Obi-Wan off Tatooine? And it's like Leia didn't even come across my mind. I'm like,
Nope.
oh, she's not going to show up.
Oh
Fucking
yeah, everybody thought it was always gonna all be about Luke.
mhm.
It's always only been about Luke.
Yeah,
But clearly, Leia knew Obi-Wan before the events of the original trilogy, so this explains that.
yeah. And just as Dale said, she's just as important as Luke is. She
Yeah.
is. She is the daughter of Anakin Skywalker. She's
Yeah.
just as important.
Well, and I think there could have been so many different directions that they could have gone with
Yeah.
Vivian, who plays Leia, right?
Mhm.
They could have simply just.
Sure would have loved her.
I said that. I remember specifically. I said Carrie would have been absolutely an emotional wreck beside herself. I wouldn't even be surprised if, when they first started shooting, specifically, Vivian's scenes initially, if Billy Lord wasn't on set.
Oh,
I bet they called her in immediately.
She at least got an invitation,
or at least an
if she
invitation.
took him up on it, but she at least
Be worth asking her sometime.
Mm.
Did you have that opportunity? And they nailed the casting, number one.
Oh yeah.
And number two, they weren't afraid to do. I'm trying to find the right words.
To start out with, are we talking about Leia still, or are we talking story?
Talking about Leia.
Baby Leia is force sensitive, incredibly force sensitive. She is using the force to reach everyone around her, and she is just digging up their entire personality with the force. She doesn't even know she's doing it, but that is absolutely what she's doing.
More in tune with the force than Luke ever was.
Oh, 200%.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think if they started to train Leia instead of Luke, I think she would have been ready for Vader in Empire Strikes Back.
That's an interesting point. Yeah.
She is more like Anakin. Luke is more like Padme, I feel.
It's very true. It's very true, actually, in that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the other part of the Kenobi series that I've loved, there's a level of simplicity to this series, right? They're not going above and beyond with the special effects. They're not going above and beyond with anything that, like The Mandalorian does, right? Like, we get a lot of extra.
Well, we haven't seen the last 3 episodes yet.
Right. Well, yeah, that's true. Like, right. But up to this point, for a series that envelops the Star Wars brand, right? And something like Kenobi, where you want to be able to be theatrical and tell the story of Obi-Wan Kenobi in a way that grabs your attention.
Yeah.
They've been able to keep it simple enough that people who understand the original trilogy and people who understand the prequels will understand this.
Yeah.
And I think appealing to that older generation, like those who remember the original trilogy, is the toughest thing to do. And by having Leia come in and have Obi-Wan, which, in all honesty, Ewan McGregor is doing his best early Alec Guinness.
He sounds a lot more like Alec Guinness than he did in the prequels.
As we continue through this series, do we see him getting grayer? Do we see him?
I mean, he did get pulled into fire, so I would assume yes.
So that's what I'm saying. He's going to be even more shook up after this now.
Yeah.
Alec Guinness is very shook up when we meet him in A New Hope.
I wouldn't say that. He's pretty confident.
Right. But I mean, when he starts recollecting on things, Obi-Wan, he shook up about everything that happened, right?
Yeah, he has PTSD.
Right. And you see that with Alec Guinness's character, but now Luke is older. So where do we see that progression to the old man Ben Kenobi?
Yeah.
I have another side to that coin. You talk about catering to the fans of the original trilogy. How about that Vader voice?
It was a lot better than Rogue One. It sounded like the original trilogy Darth Vader, which James Earl Jones did do the dialogue, but they used the AI voice thing that they used for Luke and Mandalorian and Book of Boba. but they tweaked it so he actually, sounds like how Darth Vader is supposed to sound in that time frame. But I also heard Hayden Christensen did some of the dialogue too.
Yeah, so what I was saying and what I would like is I would like something in there to bridge that gap between the very calm, determined, brutal Vader that we see in the original trilogy versus the flighty, whiny Anakin that we see in the prequels. I
Yeah.
want something in the middle there. I want a whiny Vader. I want Vader to have a confrontation, maybe with Obi-Wan or someone, where he just like is so emotional that he loses a little bit of that control. Right. And we can see like a younger Vader.
I think we're obviously getting a second fight, and that's gonna be the actual Kenobi versus Vader fight. I think that's when we see Vader kind of let loose, and you see a little bit of Anakin still come out because he's gonna get his mask damaged. We're gonna see his face.
Yeah.
Um,
yeah. Do you hear him say to Obi-Wan about Padme, like, you turned her against me again? Do you know what I mean? Like that kind of Anakin.
Yeah, I think so. Or Obi-Wan is talking about how the council would have helped him if he just told him or something, and then Vader or slash Anakin just lets loose and is like, no, they wouldn't have. They
They would
wouldn't
have
have
condemned him for loving Padme anyway. They would have condemned him for his marriage. They would have condemned him for his
Hearing
children.
that Vader voice saying they wouldn't have let me love Padme, like that would be like, whoa, that's
But
Anakin.
do it. Oh wait, I can't really say much about Rebels, but
No.
You know what I'm thinking about.
You can say it. You can say it.
Something's been out for a while. Like I accept that I'm going to get spoilers on it. That's just how it is.
So Ahsoka and Darth Vader fight as mask gets cut, and they bring back the voice actor from Clone Wars, and they mix his voice with James Earl Jones, and he calls out to Ahsoka. I think they could do that with Obi-Wan.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. This series has just done so much good.
It has
for Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's hitting every mark like it should.
Baby Leia is the best thing ever.
Baby Leia is the best thing ever.
Already planning out the costumes.
But I love that it started off slow with the first episodes. I think that was the right way to do it. And what part of these 3 episodes was it like, all right, I'm on board for everything going forward with Obi-Wan?
The moment we saw Leia getting dressed, and then it wasn't even Leia. For me, that was the moment.
I think for me, the moment that really convinced me that not only are we going to have the first season of Obi-Wan, but like you said, Andrew, there could easily be a second season of Obi-Wan Kenobi if they really want to push us forward.
And there's still 9 years to play with.
Right, exactly. I think the one thing that got me was seeing the interactions between Ben Kenobi and Owen Lars.
Yep.
Because we had, for the longest time, read that in canon, right? Mm-hmm. We had talked about that. We've been talking about that as fans for the longest time. How much does Ben interact with Luke from the outside? And seeing that relationship with Owen Lars, and
I'm glad that they got Joel Edgerton back
to get Joel Edgerton. Yeah. That convinced me that Dave Filoni, Deborah Chow, and the team are not holding back on really bringing
holding back on anything.
On anything. Well, yes, absolutely. But they're not holding back on the actual origin story of what happened to Ben after Anakin turned.
Yeah.
They're not holding back on that. And so that got me.
So for me, I was already sold on the show to begin with, but the end of the first episode where you see his lightsaber on his belt and he walks off to the ship, that's when I'm like, I'm fucking in.
That's it.
Plus, Obi-Wan's lightsaber is my favorite lightsaber anyway, so that's also another Plus for that. But
Plus for that. Hey.
no pun intended for
No
Disney.
pun intended about Disney Plus whatsoever.
Okay. How do you feel about the Grand Inquisitor?
I'm a little upset that the Grand Inquisitor left so early.
But is he gone though? Is the
I
question.
don't think so.
Oh no, he's absolutely not.
He's absolutely not.
His species has 2 stomachs.
Correct.
I think he already told Vader what happened. And Vader is already like, I already know what you did, fool.
He's playing her.
He's playing
her because he thinks she might actually get him to Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
This is what Vader does, and I think you're right.
And I like that they're not overly using the Imperial March for Vader. I like his theme in this. It's terrifying.
We're going right to Vader's castle, too. We're not holding back.
Yeah. Okay, so where do you think the second fight takes place? You think it takes place on Mustafar or at the Inquisitor world, which is a moon next to Mustafar?
I would love it on Mustafar, but I'm not sure they're going to do it there.
Mhm.
I think they're gonna end up doing it on the Inquisitor base.
They're gonna do it on the Inquisitor base, huh?
Yeah, I think
I
so.
didn't know it was this kind of show.
Or another unknown location.
Or another unknown. Yeah, they could.
I was going sexual with it, Robin.
I know you were, and I'm trying not. I'm trying to spare Tony here because I know Tony sees a lot of that on the runs.
Tony's used to it by now.
You think Tony's used to it? Tony, are you used to it? Get in the chat here. Are you used to Andrew throwing those kind of mid-sexual comments at you?
But so we got another Jedi name.
I know which one you're gonna say here.
Is Quinlan Vos going to show up?
Quinlan Vos, man.
I think Quinlan Vos is the one that helps Obi-Wan be General Kenobi again, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, having Quinlan Vos in live action.
Because you don't name drop Quinlan Vos and you don't have him show up.
I mean, he's the one that's getting younglings
out. Is he the one who's going to rescue Leia from the?
Is he the one who's going to rescue Leia?
He very well could.
Fascinating. Which would make sense for his storyline that Quinlan Vos would end up going bye-bye at some point, right?
Yeah. So
did he die by Vader in the Legends? Or does he die by an Inquisitor?
He died during Order 66.
Oh, so they could really play with this.
He died on Kashyyyk.
So they could really play with this then.
Yeah.
If they're saying he's alive. That's fascinating.
When do we hear Qui-Gon? Because we're going to hear him.
I have a question.
Okay.
For y'all. Who do you think the figure that Obi-Wan hallucinated was? Because I have a theory.
Oh, that was straight up Anakin.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm right on board with that.
And honestly,
I know who it was.
Who was it?
It was your mom.
He said it when we were watching it, he said it was Quinlan. I'm like, that's no.
I thought maybe it could have been Quinlan.
No, because a hooded figure that you can't identify is
always. I zoomed in on it. I'm like, okay, that's Hayden. That's Anakin.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because one, we saw Darth Vader at the beginning, and
the path, right?
Obi-Wan knows Anakin is alive. He would be hallucinating. Like the last time he saw Anakin was, well, the last time he saw him was he was burning. But
speaking of KFC,
what they showed him, he was on fire.
that's KFJ, Kentucky Fried Jedi.
Well, he would be a Sith, so.
You're right there.
That was a bad joke.
It was a really bad joke, and now she's hiding.
Well, Robin has those bad dad jokes. He's had them since I joined Brick City Blockade.
I'm just getting a look. I'm getting the look that you get from Renee. So
I guess because Robin will kick me off Brick City Blockade if I make fun of him.
No, that's not true. Oh, that is such bullshit.
Oh, I would have been kicked off the very first episode I was on.
Everybody makes fun of him. She's back. Too easy to make fun of.
I'm very easy to make fun of. It's true.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they're gonna do here because
What did you think of the lightsaber fight? Because I personally liked it.
me too.
I like
Because they have established Obi-Wan hadn't been in any fights in 10 years.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. I
Yeah.
liked that he was rusty.
He's not gonna be the flippy Jedi that he was in the Clone Wars.
This is true. I know his hair was like all in his face. He's like,
And
he's trying to figure it out.
I'm like, I can understand why Ewan McGregor was terrified because he said there was a scene that they were filming that he legitimately got scared of Darth Vader coming at him. I'm
That
like,
makes sense.
I can see where that came in.
That makes sense. Yeah, that tracks.
How did you feel about the Darth Vader suit? 'Cause I think it looks fantastic.
They did a really great job of giving us the early Vader suit and that transition into a New Hope Vader.
Mhm.
You know, the other thing too is like it's still so fresh and clean.
Yeah.
There's barely any battle scars on that thing. yet.
Well, we haven't got to the end of the season yet.
Correct. That's where we're gonna start seeing that, right?
Mhm.
There's by the time we get to A New Hope, we start
Really
seeing
many suits at this point too. If you read the Darth Vader comics, his suit gets fucked up basically every issue that he's in.
he instead of pulling a hammy, he pulls like a whole fucking cord out of his leg. So
Basically.
like,
I mean, he could detach his leg, so
Just
dude,
replace it.
dude, I can't even tell you how many people on Twitter were like they made a gif of like the parts coming off of Vader,
yeah.
and there was somebody who put it up there like, oh, that's hot. Isn't that so nice how the limbs just come right off?
Oh yeah.
These cyborg cams.
Sexy cyborg cams.
I do think it was like really cool that we actually got to see him essentially being put together. 'Cause
Put together.
we
Reassembled.
saw it briefly in Rogue One. We didn't see him get put together, but just the fact that it's like he is more machine than he is man now.
The back to tank. Yes, that's one of them. And the red lenses, like the one that they're gonna, like the Black Series Vader helmet, the next one we're gonna get.
Helmet?
Oh, of course I fucking am. Oh my god, that thing is sexy.
It is.
Oh my
It's
lord.
a lot. Honestly, it's a lot better than the original Black Series one that they put out, in my opinion.
It really is, and I am going to be remaking that scene with that helmet. Except it's gonna come down on my head. I'm gonna be like, ow, ow, ow. The entire time.
Is Shaylin going to be putting you together, essentially?
She always has to put me together. I'm an absolute mess. Falling apart at every fucking seam.
Well, wait till you. Well, you're about.
Can you not in the back?
You're about to be 29 this year, so your 20s are almost up like mine. So
This is true.
So it's all downhill from here.
That's it. That's
I'm
absolutely
at my
it.
peak.
Yeah, Shaylin just turned 25, so
Yeah, you've still got like 5 years left.
just about. Wait, did you see that? Do you see that coy wave in the background?
I did.
Hi, I'm the youngest
Hi,
here.
old
Hello.
people.
Hi, old people.
Well,
That's not accurate at all.
no, Renee's turning 26 this year, or 27, so
Youngest.
I forget. So
Is that part of the aging process?
yes.
Yeah, that's so. Same here.
Let's see. What else can we talk about with Kenobi? Oh, how do you feel about the score itself? Like
John Williams knocked it out of the park.
he did.
I want to do a rewatch of all 3 episodes where I just pay attention to the score, because the first few run throughs, I've been in a musician since I was 9 years old. I play the flute, and I've been in band. And my band teacher in high school was really passionate about John Williams. I'm sorry, John Williams, because marching band and
Her band teacher was passionate about me, I guess.
John Williams. So I love, like, we went to see the Boston Pops every year at the end of the year, and we specifically when John Williams was doing his residency, I guess you could say, at the Boston Pops, and he would do his scores live with a screen,
Mhm.
and it was just the coolest thing ever. So I want to do a rewatch where I just pay attention to like I could even just like close my eyes the whole time and just listen to the music, or I don't know, download a score. But I would rather do it that way, where you can hear the characters like having their discussions, because
Yeah.
that's part of it, right? So yeah, I got to do a rewatch where I just pay attention to the music.
It wasn't John Williams doing the full score.
Not the full
No,
score, yeah.
there was a
He
new,
just did the theme for Obi-Wan.
yeah.
But it was Natalie Holt that did
Holt.
the score, which she did the score for Loki.
She did a new Leia theme, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like her new theme.
me too.
I'm glad they're not using the original, because that would just be
Well, no, she's
it,
10.
it would just be not only that, but it would just be too easy to just be like, oh, here's Leia's theme, here's Darth Vader's, here's the Force theme that we've heard a million times. It's like I like hearing fresh new scores from Star Wars because
They're different people.
They are different.
and
They're not the characters that we know in the original trilogy yet.
yeah,
It makes sense that their themes would be different.
and Obi-Wan never really had a theme to begin with, so I'm glad John Williams was finally able to give him a theme, which I think is really cool and works for Obi-Wan here. Um,
I agree.
and I'm glad that they didn't overly use music for the first fight.
No, I know.
We're gonna
Could have easily been done.
we're probably gonna get a lot of the original music in their second fight. That's where I think like you would maybe hear maybe Duel of the Fates or Battle of the Heroes. But I think it would be like Natalie Holt's take on those themes. I
That'd be
think that's really
fantastic.
cool.
That'd be great.
But as a whole, final thoughts on Obi-Wan Kenobi and Celebration as a whole as we wrap up this first stream.
Yeah, I think. I mean, if I'm gonna put it in words, I think unless something changes, Star Wars is back.
Mhm.
We're getting back to where it was in 2013, 2014 when we started getting announcements of things.
Yeah.
And I think they need to keep riding the hype of it. I think Celebration was the proper hype
Mhm.
that we needed. Obi-Wan is definitely everything that we've ever wanted. But they have to keep the momentum going,
Yeah.
right? They can't stop. Like that was the thing when, we had the sequel trilogy come out, like everything marketing everywhere for Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars. Then it died. Then we
Yep.
had nothing.
They didn't ride that momentum.
They
at all.
didn't ride that momentum out. They need to ride that momentum out now, because Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to be the thing that kind of pushes them forward with the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Those two, and then Ahsoka and whatnot. But they gotta keep going. They can't stop now. So I'm loving it. It's been nothing but greatness.
Yeah. Shayla?
I don't know. I love the new Obi-Wan series. I can't wait to see what they do with it. I can't wait to see if it gets another season. A takeaway from the Star Wars Celebration, I feel like they could have cut it a day.
They could have.
Make it shorter and higher impact. If you don't have that much to
Well,
say.
originally it used to only be 3
less
days.
time.
I don't know why they pushed it to 4 days now.
Yeah, they were trying to milk it for everything it's worth. I feel like it would have been punchier, more enticing maybe if it was shorter.
I agree.
And people's attention spans now, especially when you're watching the live stream, so short.
Yeah.
So.
And Obi-Wan is probably my favorite series with the new Star Wars stuff. I love Mandalorian. I didn't mind Book of Boba Fett. It's not my favorite thing, but it had some of my favorite stuff with Luke Skywalker in there. So I give it a pass for that.
Yeah.
But Obi-Wan, it's everything that I love in Star Wars, like essentially the Clone Wars. It's storytelling that I needed with his character. Obi-Wan's my favorite character.
Yeah.
And just to see one, Ewan McGregor getting another chance to be Obi-Wan again, and Hayden Christensen getting that chance to be Darth Vader.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He was straight up Anakin in 2 and 3. He wasn't fully Vader yet. And
It's very
honestly, you can tell he's in the suit too. That's the
Mhm.
thing
Oh,
that
yes.
I like. It's like you can tell it's his posture when he's fighting and everything.
Yep.
And we're definitely getting a second season because there's still so much story we can tell with Obi-Wan. We are not getting that rematch with Maul because that happened in Rebels, and I'm
Rebels, yeah.
perfectly happy with how it ended in Rebels.
Me too.
Spoiler alert: Darth Maul lived, by the way.
Action. That's what happens.
And be on the lookout because Cat's here to say that once Obi-Wan is finished, we will do another live stream, probably on the Brick City channel, because
Yep.
I'm gonna get Robin to actually get the Brick City YouTube channel going.
Yes.
He needs to do something.
Yeah, doesn't have enough free time.
Not enough free time.
Or no, that's what I meant. I had too much free time.
Too much free
Too
time.
much free time. Gotta
Too
fill
much
it
free
up.
time.
But we will give an overall review of the series once it's finished. And other than that, it's been fun
This has
doing
been
this
great.
live stream with you guys.
Absolutely.
And as we say at Brick City Blockade, may the force be with you.
It's a stick.
Always.
Always.